Hello everybody, it's your boy Proftrof in the hour. Suggesting I check out this video. What happened to our villains by the critical drinker? Okay, this is a pretty new video from him. It was what the fuck is the date today? Like 5 days ago?
Hey dear viewer, back when I was about 13, back when I just reached the legal drinking age in Scotland, one of my mates challenged me to drink a half bottle of Chinese moonshine. Now, I'd never tried this stuff before, and as I found out later, neither had he. But anyway, I duly popped the cork, which was secured with duct tape for some reason, and got fired in about it. Now, I've consumed some unpleasant beverages in my time, let me tell you, but this stuff tasted like
Is he drinking Yoda semen? What the hell?
Beverages in my time, let me tell you, but this stuff tasted like liquefied, decomposing dog. But a challenge is a challenge, and only a fucking pussy backs down from something like that. So a few minutes later, I duly raised the empty bottle in triumph. Then I promptly threw up, pissed myself, and passed out next to a dumpster behind Tesco. The point here is that without overcoming the challenge of that shitty drink, I never would have become the witty, intoxicated raconteur you see before you. Because when you get right down to it, every hero needs a good villain. What would Superman be without Lex Luthor? What would Batman be without the Joker? What would Captain Marvel?
Happy. Probably. Probably he'd be happy.
Marvel be without Brie Larson?
Is that like a personal attack or something?
What would Captain Marvel be without...
I thought actresses were supposed to be attractive.
Brie Larson?
Is that like a personal attack or something?
The antagonist of a story is actually a pretty interesting thing from a writing point of view. They can come in all different shapes and sizes, from physical powerhouses to calculating intellectuals, from honourable warriors to evil murderers. But whatever form they take, they all serve the same basic purpose. They're an obstacle for the protagonist to overcome, something that can challenge them to become better and stronger than they were before. They're basically the driving force behind the hero's journey. But it's more than just that.
Ooh,
a good villain can challenge the very nature of who and what a hero is, and what the audience believes them to be. They can have justifiable motivations and complex personalities all of their own. The best ones can even make the audience question just who exactly the
That is the best villain, the one that makes you question who is right. Or if he elicits any kind of positive emotions out of you. That's the villain. That's a very well written villain. A believable one.
Villain is. In fact, the villains are often cooler and more memorable than the hero themselves. Why? Because unlike the hero, writers don't have to worry about making their villains likable and relatable, so they can afford to take risks with them. They can indulge their wildest writing fantasies, creating the most despicable psychopaths, terrifying monsters, evil dictators, or cunning criminals imaginable. The more evil they are, the bigger the threat they pose, or the harder they test the protagonist, the more satisfying it is when the hero finally prevails. The problem is that good villains seem to be a dying breed these days. The awesome antagonists that used to dominate the screen and push our heroes to the very limits of their endurance are gradually being replaced by weak, flaccid, forgettable imitations.
One second. Okay, I'm back, sorry.
Are gradually being replaced by weak, flaccid, forgettable imitations with none of the power and menace of their predecessors. And because they no longer present a challenge, there's no real payoff when they get defeated. Now, explaining how and why this is happening is going to take a bit of time, so strap in and prepare yourself for the Drinker's Writing Workshop. First up, I'm going to give you an example of a well-written antagonist that everyone knows. And where better to start than Darth Vader. He's basically the quintessential movie villain. Right from the first moment he strides onto that rebel ship, surrounded by dead bodies, you know this guy isn't fucking around. In fact, George Lucas played just about every trick in the book to make you afraid of this guy. He's huge and powerful, he's dressed all in black armor, his face is hidden behind an inhuman mask, so you've got no idea what he actually looks like, and he speaks with a deep booming voice that just seems to radiate power and menace.
Where are those transmissions you intercepted? What have you done with those plans?
Shit man, he can even throw people around like ragdolls. Physically, he's big and intimidating, but he's also intelligent and ruthlessly efficient, making smart, logical decisions based on the information he has, and almost never losing his cool. For example, he uses his force powers to punish subordinates.
Well, he was not very cool when he fell in the lava.
Who fail or disrespect him, but it's never done out of anger or malice. He's either proving a point to men who doubt his power, or removing ineffective commanders who compromise the success of his mission. When Vader acts, it's always in service of a higher goal, and never because he's lost control of himself. The overall effect here is to create a villain that you absolutely would not want to fuck with. A man who basically dominates every situation and plows through every opponent over 3 movies, right until the final act, when Luke at last manages to overpower him. But even that counts as a kind of victory.
By the way, did he cut off the same arm he lost before?
For Vader, whose objective was never to beat Luke anyway, but to provoke his rage and anger. And well, that's exactly what he does. The point here is that George Lucas managed to create a villain that was smart, powerful, dominant, ruthless, interesting, and extremely well written. A character that maintains his air of danger and menace almost until his final moments, before redeeming himself and sacrificing his own life to save his son. Damn, no wonder he's so iconic. Now let's take a moment to consider his modern day counterpart, Kylo Ren. I mean,
wasn't this guy a good guy at some point? Doesn't he fight alongside I don't remember her name. I'm sorry.
Officially, the similarities are there. They both wear masks and black armor. They both make their entrance in the middle of a battle. They both use lightsabers.
I mean, this guy looks kind of cool. I don't know why he has a guard on his lightsaber. That looks like you might cut your hand off without meaning to, but...
And they're both strong with the Force. And for the first few seconds, everything's going pretty well for Kylo Ren. He strides out of his ship, he kills an old guy that looks like he should be important, and he stops a fucking blaster bolt in mid-air. Damn, even Darth Vader couldn't do that. Then it all starts to go wrong when he tries to interrogate Poe.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
The old man gave it to you.
It's just very hard to understand you with all the...
What the fuck is this? If you want us to take this guy seriously, you really shouldn't have people throwing snarky comments at him unchallenged. It's like the script is actively making fun of him and encouraging us to laugh along with them. And it only gets worse from there. Whereas Vader was cold and efficient, Kylo frequently loses his temper and lashes out in childish rage. He makes dumb, illogical command decisions and pursues his mission in the least efficient way possible. He brutally punishes people for asking completely logical questions.
This fleet, what is it, a gift? What is he asking for in return?
In fact, the only reason he even catches up to our heroes is because just about every... In fact...
Is he reverse gripping the sword? Is this No wonder this movie was shit. Is he reverse gripping a lightsaber? With a god, with a light... Brother, how? Oh, Jesus Christ, I cannot do this. I cannot do this.
The only reason he even catches up to our heroes is because just about everyone in the galaxy seems to be a fucking snitch. He regularly takes his mask off, destroying the mystery of what lies behind it. He's openly conflicted about the path he wants to take, hesitating at crucial moments, and endlessly brooding over his choices. Worst of all,
why does my boy look like he's crying every 2 seconds?
At crucial moments, and
What's wrong? But you okay? Need some therapy?
Endlessly brooding over his choices. Worst of all, every single time he goes up against the hero, he loses. First he fails to probe her mind with the Force, then he gets his fucking ass kicked in a fight, and it's only sheer dumb luck that stops him from getting killed. From that moment on, any threat or danger he might have posed is completely annihilated.
Stop spinning!
Because if your antagonist starts out weaker than the hero, then what the fuck is there left to...
Why is he spinning?
From that moment on, any threat or danger he might have posed is completely...
Why spin? Why spin? Why did she not stab him there, huh? fucking hate this shit when they do this in movies, okay? This annoys me. This annoys me. This annoys me a lot.
From getting killed.
Why spin?
From that moment on, any threat or danger he might have posed is
Oh,
completely
nice spin.
annihilated.
You didn't do shit
because
with
if
it.
your antagonist starts out weaker than the hero, then what the fuck is there left to strive against? The impression you get from Kylo Ren is
Oh, he's using the reverse. Why do you
hero,
use this
then what the
reverse
fuck is there
creepy
left to
stupid-
strive against? The impression
Look, why? You almost cut your leg off. What? Why are you doing this?
you get from Kylo
What is this? Why not just do this, you know?
Ren is that he's a weak, immature, conflicted man-child, desperately pretending to be something he isn't, exploding with childish displays of emotion whenever things don't go his way, and unable to commit to a course of action. A man who can't even master himself, never mind those around him, and consistently loses every time he tests himself against the hero.
Did he just let his sword go to get what happened here?
Commit to a course of action. A man who can't even master
Lets it go,
himself,
she grabs
never
it
mind
and
those
stabs
around him, and consistently loses every time he tests himself against the hero. In short, he's a villain without teeth. Never mind though, at least Snoke has a bit of potential. Oh. Well, there's always Hux. He started out pretty ruthless.
That is always an
Oh. You see how the script doesn't even have the decency to produce competent villains? Not only are these guys evil, but they're evil and inept. You're not supposed to fear them, you're supposed to laugh at them. And it's not just Star Wars that has this problem either.
What's
Consider Yon-Rogg from Captain Marvel.
I've not seen this movie. I'm not gonna watch this movie. This movie looks like trash, I gotta be honest with you. I do not feel any. I've seen most of the Marvel movies, okay? I've enjoyed most of them. This does not look like one I would enjoy.
Who loses his first
I
fight
love the new Spider-Man movies. Oh, that's so good.
against her, then does basically nothing for the rest of the movie until she finally gets bored and zaps him with absolutely no efforts. Because
I have nothing to prove to you.
at no point in
Why did
this
she
movie
blink
does he
3
ever.
times? Why did she blink so many times while saying that line?
Because
I have nothing to prove to you.
What is wrong with your? Do you have an eye infection?
he gets bored and zaps him with absolutely
Look
no
at her eyes.
efforts.
Yeah.
Because
I have nothing to prove
1,
to you.
2, 3.
at no point in
She
this
blinked 3
movie
times in a
does he
span of
ever
a second.
present the slightest threat to her.
What?
So why the fuck should we care when she beats him? Or how about Roman Sionis from Birds of Prey?
Oh.
A sadistic nightclub owner who pouts and cries and screams his way through the movie and needs constant emotional validation and reassurance from his henchmen. A man who comes across as insecure, unstable, needy, and generally kinda pathetic, and never gets to present an actual threat to the hero. Or what about Max Lord from Wonder Woman 1984? A shady businessman desperate to hide his failures behind a veneer.
Okay, I've not seen this movie. I've seen the first Wonder Woman movie. I liked it. I did not enjoy Wonder Woman at all. I liked the dude, the main dude. He felt like the real protagonist of that movie. He even had the satisfying death at the end. Like, that dude felt like the hero of the movie. She didn't. I know a lot of people like her. A lot of people like the Wonder Woman, like Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel much heroic stuff from her. To be honest, that's my opinion. The dude though, he did some shit, and he ended very nicely.
Of ballsy 1980s arrogance, who revels in the idea of power and success, but crumbles like a wet paper bag the moment his life is put at risk, and who is never able to threaten Wonder Woman in any way. And of course, let's not forget about Rowan from Ghostbusters 2016, a sad,
Why should we not forget about him? Didn't the script forget about him?
middle-aged, socially inept loser with a superiority complex that's angry because everyone in the world looks down on him. Or how about Bosley from Charlie's Angels, played by a frail actor in his late 70s, who's
There's a new Charlie's Angels? Oh.
Or how about Bosley from Charlie's Angels, played by a frail actor in his late 70s, whose plan gets easily uncovered and foiled by people who are clearly far more intelligent than him, before knocking him out with a single punch. The point I'm making here is that all of these characters make for shitty villains, either because they lack the self-control, fighting ability, intelligence, or sheer physical strength to be genuinely intimidating. They never present a tangible threat to the hero. In fact, they're basically treated as weak, pathetic
Terminator
strawmen that can be easily brushed aside once the script
Ah,
decides it's time for them
adaptable.
to lose. The writers in this case lack the one thing that every creator should have for their antagonist, and that's respect for their creations. Darth
Oi,
Vader,
what was that?
Hans Gruber, antagonist, and that's respect for their creations. Darth Vader, Hans Gruber, Hannibal Lecter, the Terminator, the list goes on, but the thing that ties all these characters together is respect. The writers were smart enough to build their antagonists up, so they became a genuine threat for the hero to overcome, instead of trying to break them down and belittle them right from the beginning. Now, the thing you might
know what
rightly
that
be
is,
wondering is why? Why is this happening? What exactly has changed? Well, quite a bit as it happens. See, the real problem here is that there are pretty strict rules
Hey, Bucky was a pretty good antagonist at some point. I liked Bucky.
around what you can and can't show in mainstream movies. And I'm not talking about boobs and violence like in the old days. I'm talking about the unwritten rules behind the scenes that basically exist to make sure their movies don't incur the wrath of journalists. The news media basically
what was
exist
that?
to make sure their movies don't incur the wrath of journalists.
Queer representation in games isn't good enough, but it's getting better. Oh, come on, bruh. Who cares? You my gameplay and
The news
fake news. Don't read all about it. Stop use reason.
media or the endless Twitter mobs just waiting for the next thing to get offended about. In this case, one of the golden rules is that women are never allowed to lose to men at anything for any reason. Whether it's a physical fight, a test of skill or intelligence, or even a
Right.
simple argument. Pick basic
That was Black Widow, right? Okay, she's allowed to beat up men. Okay, she has the training and ability to beat up men. Okay, she's allowed to do that shit.
any scenario where a woman gets pitted
I don't know
against a
what this is.
man,
Oh,
and
this
I
is
can
the-
pretty
yeah.
much guarantee you
That was a
the
nice
woman
leg
any
kick, though.
fight, a test of skill or intelligence, or even a simple argument. Pick basically any scenario where a woman
No one's gonna buckle after a leg kick, especially by a woman that weighs 100 pounds less than him, though. That's just not gonna happen, buddy. Especially if he has any experience in fighting. He's not gonna buckle after a leg kick.
woman gets pitted against
That's
a
not gonna
man,
happen.
and I can pretty much guarantee you the woman will come out on top. She'll either outsmart the man in a battle of wits, or get the last word in an argument, or kick his ass in a fight regardless of their relative size and strength. Whatever it might be, the rules
fuck did I
dictate
just
that
see?
no man can beat a woman in
Why
a
he not
balanced
powerbomb
engagement,
that bitch?
because the natural implication would be that men are smarter,
Oof.
or stronger, or generally better than women, and we certainly can't have that. Now this is all well and good, but it creates a very obvious problem when your hero happens to be female and your villain male.
Oh no, they touched. Ooh, what was that? What was that?
Traditional storytelling requires the antagonist to start out stronger and more dangerous than the hero, forcing them to grow and improve themselves in some way before finally prevailing at the end. But naturally, this process requires the man to be dominant in the early stages,
He's a good
and as
guy
we've
now.
already discussed, that's not allowed to happen anymore, even if it's just a temporary thing. So how exactly do you get around it? Well, if you happen to write for Disney, Marvel, DC, or Lucasfilm, you don't. Instead, you're forced to make your villains weak and pathetic, either unfairly elevated beyond their abilities, or jealous and envious of the hero's success. It's basically a form of projection, allowing the writers to vent their frustrations about imagined enemies and rivals onto a weak straw man that can be easily swept aside by an all-conquering heroine. Unfortunately, this whole mindset creates more problems than it solves. Weak villains make for weak stories because they rob the narrative of its tension and drama. Even worse, it actually undermines the hero themselves, because if they're never really tested by a worthy opponent, then they haven't really achieved anything. A hero is only ever as strong as the villain they defeat. And what's really interesting is that the problem still exists even if you reverse the roles. Take Thor Ragnarok for example. The villain in that movie is a woman, which is perfectly fine at the beginning when she gets to kick Thor's ass, but it becomes a real problem near the finale when it's time for him to win. You definitely can't show Thor hammering a woman into the ground because
That would have been amazing. I've seen this movie. It was decent. I enjoyed this movie actually.
that brings up all kinds of unpleasant accusations of glorifying violence against women. So instead, the movie takes the best alternative and has a third party step in to win the battle for him. Notice how they carefully managed to sidestep the uncomfortable issue of Thor defeating her in a fair fight. Just a little something to think about there. The point I'm making is that the reason people didn't warm to characters like Rey or Captain Marvel isn't because of their gender, it's because everything's made so fucking easy for them that it's basically impossible to feel
Fucking
any
spun
empathy.
again.
It's the
Spun
same
again.
exact problem with Ghostbusters, or Harley Quinn, or Charlie's Angels.
Why? Yeah, okay, stop, please stop showing these scenes.
If your heroes do nothing but plough their way through a collection of unthreatening, neutered enemies, then you'll never get your audience to care about their struggle, because they don't fucking have one. So what exactly is the solution here? Well, ironically enough, the solution
This
is
movie was pretty
equality. And I mean real equality, not the bullshit Hollywood version that makes one side artificially weaker just to make the other look superficially strong. If you want your female heroes to be respected equally, then you have to put them through equal struggles against worthy enemies. You need to stop nerfing your villains in a vain attempt to avoid offending people on social media. Because
that?
honestly, the more you try to appease them, the more you compromise your ability to tell a decent fucking story. If you want kick-ass heroes that people can look up to, then you need to give them kick-ass antagonists they can be afraid of. In short, you need to give your villains their fucking balls back.
Oof.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away now. I love that ending. I love his endings to his videos. Ah, yeah, that was a very Oh, he made a Last of Us 2 video. I need to see that. Oh, that's gonna be horribly good. That's gonna be horribly good. Okay, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all agree with him about the villains? I agree that for some reason lately movies have been kind of shit. They've been very good movies as always, but I feel like the quality in a general sense when you talk about video movies and games as well, it's kind of decreased and that's mostly for the high-end ones, like AAA games. I don't know what you call AAA movies, I guess. I feel like the higher portion, you know, the ones that get the most funding, have been worse last couple of years for some reason, and it should not be like that. Usually it should be the other way around, like, right? Like the things that get the most money to make the best product should be the best, but it doesn't feel like that at all for some fucking reason. Anyway, thank you to the Patreons: Pedro Martinez, Commandsko, you and Robert, Prince Swastik, Pure Chicken 53, Senior Hill, Lemon and Moon, Akma Dash, Ronic, Nala, James Bizone. Thank you all for the support. We're playing some Minecraft Orin World. The poll is still on. Okay? So vote. And I'll see you next time, everybody. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope y'all have a nice day. Welcome to the stream if you want to. 3 p.m. Bulgarian time. And yeah.